Hello everybody, do you know what one of the best platforms is to do digital storytelling? It's Instagram Stories. The name of Instagram Stories says it, it's about storytelling. And this week I gave a course in success with Instagram to people who are just new to Instagram and who want to do Instagram for their businesses. And I realized that a big part of it is about Instagram Stories, and I thought it would also be interesting to talk to you about it and give you tips that I gave in this course also to you. So to start off, how I see Instagram Stories is actually like a mini vlog. A mini vlog meaning that it's actually a vlog that you make because you will show what you're doing that day to your audience. And it's actually the same as in a vlog, that you are documenting what you are doing. And I think that you should also consider using Instagram Stories as a vlog. Why is that? Because I see so many times that people will just put images on there or videos on there, but they don't really think about telling their story of that day. And I really think that that is one big improvement that you can make by just thinking about it. Imagine your favorite book and you rip out all of the pages, you throw them in the air, and then you grab some papers together, and then you are going to read that to somebody who has never heard of that book. Obviously for you the pages still make sense because you know the story, but somebody who isn't familiar with that story is not going to understand anything. And that's actually what you are doing when you are doing a story and you're not thinking about what kind of images that you should put out into the world. And actually you have to think about your story as a summary. Before you start, you can also already think about what are the things that are going to happen this day. Obviously, sometimes there is something surprising that is happening and you're not always prepared for that, but still you have to think about what kind of images do I need to tell the story of this day. And I know that's not very easy, but still it's easier. It's a very easy way of vlogging because it's cheap. You only need your smartphone, you don't need editing, it's just taking the video, taking the picture, telling the story, and you don't have to worry about looking for music, editing, so everybody can actually do it if you have a phone with a camera and you don't need any knowledge of anything else. And that's why it's a very easy way of vlogging Instagram Stories. So that is actually already my first tip. Think about your story as if it is a story. And the second tip that I'm going to give is actually part of that. When you start your day, introduce yourself. Obviously your your audience is going to know who you are, so maybe you don't have to introduce yourself, but introduce the day, introduce what you're going to do. If you're going to a festival, for instance, tell the audience that you're going to do just that. If you have an event at your store or at your factory or anything, just tell them so that they will know. And sometimes I see Instagram Stories, they will just put on a picture and you have no clue what is happening. So introduce your story by giving a small introduction. The second tip also has to do with this tip about introducing yourself. Don't always try to introduce everything. I know that's a bit strange that I'm giving you some mixed tips here, but also think about showing people what you're doing, but make it look that they understand. Think about how they can understand what you're telling them. But I don't know if you're watching a movie and you know in the beginning what's going to happen in the end. You're not going to watch the complete movie. So don't try to tell them too much. And that's why this is a very famous quote: show, don't tell. So also let people explore stuff themselves. My next tip is to be yourself. Show your personality. Don't try to be cooler than you are. I know in my videos I'm not the most enthusiastic person. I don't have a lot of facial expression, and I don't really need to try to become somebody else than that I am, because this is my personality. And this is something as a tip for your Instagram Stories as well. Don't try to be cooler than you are. Don't try to act like you're somebody else. Just show your own personality and people will fall in love, because this is true authentic content that you're making, so be yourself. For my next tip, I would like to tell you is something maybe it's very obvious, but show people something that they usually don't see, because that will make it interesting. And Instagram stories is the perfect opportunity to show some behind the scenes for an event, to show the behind the scenes of your company. If you just got a delivery with something in it, then please show that, because that is something that is interesting, because they will get to know your day-to-day business, what you're doing, and you're running a business, and people like to see that, because then they will also know how you are operating. And if you do some great stuff as an entrepreneur, people will really look up to that as well. For my next step, you have to think about some kind of technical aspect, and that is to try to think of different angles. There are so many ways to film or to frame something, and think about different angles, because that will make your story more interesting. For instance, in the summer there was a lot of festivals going on, and sometimes I saw stories of a festival and all the artists that were coming there, but they were standing in one place and they would film the whole time at the same place, and that isn't that interesting, because you will see the same frame over and over again. So try to think about, how can I frame all these parts of my stories in different ways so that it will be interesting. That's also something that movies do. They don't film from one point of view, they will change a lot, and that is what makes the story more interesting as well. For my next tip is vertical video. Instagram is all about vertical video, and sometimes I still see that mistake that people will film horizontally. They will put their phone horizontally and they will be filming like this, but people are lazy when they are scrolling through their story. They don't want to turn their phone, and they will swipe through your story if you let them do this, because they're too lazy to do something like this, because this is how people are watching their stories. So film like this as well. Also, for my next tip, just try things out. There are so many possibilities in Instagram stories. You have the super zoom, they just have some new features in them as well. You have the boomerang, you have rewind, you have so many cool things that you can do. Just try to experiment with all of these features. Also the same for all the polls and ask me a question, and the bar where you can rate something. That is something that you can experiment with, because these things also will have some engagement. You will ask for engagement from your audience, and that is when you are going to get more of a community feeling, because you can ask them to help you with decisions, and they will be proud that they can help your business if they are a real fan of your business. And my final tip is to have an ending into your story. Just like you introduce a story, always have an ending, because a movie without an ending is very sad, and if you don't know how it's going to end or how things are going, then people are going to be a bit sad. So at the end of your day, if you had an event, then tell them what your expectations were. If you met the expectations of the event, tell them how things went, how you are feeling after that day, and just make a proper ending to your story. And this will also be the proper ending to this video, but not before I will ask you to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, to like my Facebook page, like this video and share it with all the people that can use these tips, and then I will see you in my next video. Bye.